What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media, and welcome to another episode of Path to a Million podcast. This is a special one. I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. 𝗪𝗁 with ChiroFEST and his offices and remarkable man. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. Paul, say hello to the people.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me on, bud. I appreciate it. Excited for it.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to get this on for a while, so I'm pumped for this.
Nah.
All right, so we are in the midst of kind of the opening back up after COVID. I wanted you to come on because I just respect how much business savvy that you have, and you've been running multiple practices for a long time, big successful main practice, and you're always doing something. You got the coffee shop, you got ChiroFEST, got all kinds of shit. So
I don't want the grass to die under my feet, man. You got to keep moving.
That's right. So every like 3 months or so, I'll get a text from Paul and be like, "Hey, you got 5 minutes?" Which also turns into an hour of, "Hey, I've got this new idea. Let's talk about it." So
maybe I'm just glad you're not my wife.
I'm sure. So anyway, I wanted you to come on specifically because you're kind of near where the first like epicenter was. So Seattle is where things really got started with COVID. You're near Portland, a couple hours away from Seattle, but you're in Washington. And Washington was one of the first states to close down, lock down. You guys have stayed open, and now you're really starting to ramp things back up. So just actually give a little bit of context of your kind of career trajectory for those that don't know you. When'd you graduate? How'd you get started? You know, how'd you end up with multiple clinics, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I, got into chiropractic because I had an experience with chiropractic, which I think is a lost thing in our profession. But 13 years old, avid sports guy, boogered myself up wrestling. Dad took me to the chiro. And I like to share this story as like, I didn't really understand it at the time, but as I got into my chiropractic career, understanding man the physical with man the spiritual being connected through the art of the adjustment. And I literally got up off the table and said, holy shnikes, when I'm done with my sports career, I want to be able to help people with what just happened with me. And so that's kind of how it all started, 8th grade, and really forecasted that for my future and talked about it, said it, believed it. And then as soon as my sports career, my college career got done, literally started chiropractic school, played in the bowl game. We went and played in the Alamo Bowl. That was like on a Tuesday, I think. Flew back to school on a Wednesday. Started I forfeited my last semester of scholarship the spring of my senior year and started chiropractic school the following Monday. And just haven't looked back since. So just
and you played football at Washington State?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school at?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you go to school at?
So I, Western States is my backyard. I was, again, scheduled to go to another school, but my wife got a job here teaching. So we're like, all right, meant to be, let's go home. So I went to Western States.
Nice. So what year did you graduate, and did you go right into your own practice right away?
I did. I graduated December 97 and opened practice August of 98. So by the time I got my boards and, put my car and my first house and everything up for Hawk to get a loan to build out my practice. Yeah. it was a few months later, but yeah.
So how long did you just have the one, and then how did you evolve into those multiple practices?
Yeah. So we grew, had super success right from the get go. And about year 10, I was like, how can we reach more people? Mm-hmm. And I was seeing patterns of losing people over time. So I'd be, people commuting from the opposite side of town to see us, and over time they would trickle off. So I'm like, hey, had the brainy idea, let's open another office on the other side of town, and we can take care of that community over there without them, without losing them. And so opened the second office 10 years in, and then we're 5, so 15 years in, opened a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then closed one of them. So right now we've settled on 4. So really it was based on, I want, again, with Western States in my background, lacking philosophy, lacking the way I practice chiropractic, the delivery was like, I want as many people to have in my community to have the chiropractic that I understand to be possible and true for their families. And so that's why we expanded so that I could control the message and the delivery to the community, instead of like, hey, 3 visits and you're out.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the means behind my madness with it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And all the practices are in the same town, right?
Yeah, they're all either 5 to 15 miles apart. Yeah.
Yeah. That's whenever I had thought about doing multiple practices, I was thinking about having them be like an hour apart in like kind of the major small cities around my office. And the more I thought about it, I'm just like, God, that's going to be a pain in the ass to manage. But if I had 4 or 5 within the same town, I think I could probably make that work. Cause I always loved the idea of multiple practices. Cause once you figure one thing out, it works the same in every practice. So,
and to play off, I mean, there's leverage, right? And having them all close. And with our marketing, and all the different things that we do,
So let's talk about COVID and kind of how you've managed through it, and then what your plan is going forward. So I would imagine it was probably like mid-March when Washington started to shut down.
Early March, yeah. As soon as we got, I can't remember the exact date of our first whatever, but yeah, it was early to mid-March, yeah.
And you guys have stayed open the whole time?
We have, yeah.
Have you kept the gym and the massage? Okay, so to give a little bit of backstory, you're like my office, to where you have multiple services within the practice. So you have a functional fitness, posture prep area, you've got massage, and you've got chiropractic, correct? Yep.
Our main clinic does, yeah. The smaller ones are just chiro and massage, yeah.
Got it. And did you keep massage and exercise open the whole time?
We soon as they closed gyms, so within like a week or two of the announcement of our first case, we shut down our fitness component to the practice, but have maintained the chiropractic and the massage within all the offices. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you had said that you had kept the rehab.
Well, so our active rehab. So we do, yes. So we are still doing our structural correction, posture rehab stuff.
Gotcha. So they are still doing exercise, just not the like high intensity fitness stuff. Got it.
Just more rehab than.
And so talk to me about like what precautions, what messaging have you put in place with because I feel like the exercise component is a tough one for a lot of people. And then the massage, just because you're in the same space as somebody for a long time.
So our state, I sit on our state board, and we've been like uber proactive. Our president, 𝗪𝗿𝗰𝗰𝗲𝗀 has done an amazing job with sending out weekly messages to our chiros.
Yeah.
As stuff was evolving and changing and new standards put into place.
Yep.
We actually were, I would say, ahead of the curve with a lot of that in regards to extra cleaning. We pulled out a bunch of our reception area chairs so that people were, had the appropriate space, ditched the tables, spread out the tables so everybody had the appropriate space, and then just wiped stuff down, continuously. Same with the massage. We gave patients the option of, either not doing it or doing it just, smiley side down, prone position, so that they're not, no breathing interaction if they chose. We just really pushed the power back to our customer patient base. Here's the precautions we're taking to protect ourselves and you.
Yeah.
And we just allowed them to, be adults, and we educated them on all the, signs and symptoms and warnings and whatnot. So.
No, I like that. And, so do they not do any type of supine massage?
Again, we're leaving it up to the patient.
Okay.
So they, it's all of our therapists are comfortable and again, doing all the precautions necessary. But we're leaving that in the patient's hands. Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. And then for exercise, are you doing anything beyond just like wipe down any equipment that they use?
Yeah. So just whatever bands or balls or mats that they use, we have them clean it after they're done. Yeah.
Got it. And any limit on the people that are in there? So
it's unfortunately with the numbers, we have enough space. I have a 7,000 square foot building. And so we've been able to keep people appropriate distancing so that they're not crowded next to each other.
Yeah. Like in your fitness area or just like throughout the building?
In the fitness area. So I think just the fitness area is 3,000 feet itself. So you can have whatever people 6 feet apart without any issues in there.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Mine's a little under 2,000, but we've got an extra room that we could probably open up to make it easier. I've only got one trainer though, is my only like real issue. So what, in terms of chiropractic, when they did start to close things down, what happened to the numbers? What did you see? Did they stay stable for a while and then start to drop off, or did they drop off pretty much right away and then start to kick back up? They
dropped off for like 2 weeks. Soon as all the announcements and the fear went in, it like faucet turned off.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks. And then it slowly, over the last 5 weeks has start to ramp back up.
Yeah.
But I'm finding in my communication and coaching that the docs that had and delivered the highest amount of education to their people are surviving the most and doing the best throughout this. Whereas if there was no education system and process, your neck pain, back pain relief system, those docs are really, really, really struggling. So we dropped about 30% across the board, all the practices.
Yeah.
New patients dropped, those, like I said, those first 2 weeks. But again, now the past month, those are each week increasing back to almost to our normal numbers pre-COVID announcement. So it's good to see everything starting. But again, that's education, right? So the more you're educating your people, through all of your models, internal, external, social, et cetera, it helps.
For sure. Anything in particular that you found that really helped start to get people back in? And I mean, I know you had years and years of built up, like the culture of your practice was strong, but anything that you can, that you think was like, this was one thing that I think really helped?
Yeah, man, honestly, there's not one thing that stands out other than just what we've always done to build a thriving practices, and just that direct communication and education on nervous system performance and function. So.
Yeah. How have you been communicating mostly with patients?
So we use multiple platforms via text, email, social. That's the other thing I've asked all my docs to do is each week they're checking. We have a giant list, and I can't wait for it to start to get active. We made we always have a vacation list, right? So like around spring breaks and holidays, I have all my teams make a vacation list to make sure we don't lose track of people. And so we did the same thing. We implemented that right away. We have a COVID list of people that have frozen care, or we know that, eventually will come back. And I have my docs touching in with them every week and a half or so. And just from a service model, not to get them back into the office, but hey, Mary, Dr. Paul calling, just want to check on your family and you. Is there any way we can serve you? Is everybody healthy? Again, we just want to check in and make sure everybody's doing well. I look forward to seeing you when you're ready to come back into the office. So just that touch, just that reminder.
Yeah.
And then obviously when things get lifted, we'll just do a huge reactivation campaign.
Yeah.
To pull people back into the offices.
When's that supposed to happen in Washington?
Man, it's a moving target, moving goalpost.
Yeah.
We're some of the areas are into phase 2 that had lower numbers. Some are still in phase 1. Our governor's fully projected phase 4 opening is supposed to be done by August sometime. So, over the next few months, I expect us to just keep improving. So
gotcha. And in terms of the reactivation campaign, what's your plan there when you can go?
First and foremost is get back on the horn, having all my team members really call those people that were either froze or stopped their, the care.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably, depending when it is, if it's July, we might, tie in some sort of promotion to get them back into the office. July, I like doing some sort of 4th of July celebration. So maybe we'll do a freedom celebration, freedom of release, freedom from the lockdown, freedom from COVID, whatever, and do some sort of campaign that's fun to pull them back in.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
So have there been like the challenges of multiple practices? You said you had 5 and now you have 4. What was it about the 5th one that caused you to decide to pull the trigger on that one?
It was in a super rural community about 20 minutes north of my main practice, and it was profitable, not by much, but it was profitable. But I, in a period of 3 years, I think I had six different doctors in there.
Oh, wow. And
so the headache just got the pain of the practice got bigger than, the reward of the practice. So I was like, let's just bury it. And so we closed it even. I think I still had like 4 months left on my lease. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it's next.
Lots of turnover in rural communities is never a good.
And it's a great community. I just, I couldn't find a doc that wanted to, the key to everything is the doc. So I couldn't find a doc that really wanted to marry the community and become involved in the community. Yeah. And had I found one, it'd be thriving to this day. But, yeah, I
had the same problem. My first office was in a rural community about 25 minutes outside of Springfield. And I had 2 doctors, one of which is just like a comically terrible story. And another one literally just called me on a Tuesday, and he's just like, or he called me on Monday night, and he's just like, hey, I'm not going to be in on Tuesday or any other day. So you might want to show up and see these patients. And so my third doctor there, I just got so lucky that he wanted to buy a practice, and he had a family. And so he's still there. Awesome. And I sold the practice. It was a total win-win. But I would have been the same way as you were. At some point, I would have just had to have closed it down because it was like keeping me from being able to grow the other one. So
I had one because they were closed on Friday, so I would have the doc that was there come down and do continued training at my main clinic. Just sharpening the tool. And it was a friend. I'm like, you know what? We're kind of quiet here today on the numbers. Like, why don't you go back up to the practice and go around to the local businesses and just recheck in, reintroduce yourself, drop off your card, say, hey, I'm Dr. X, I'm with the Bridge Chiropractic. Just, if you ever need anything, we're right around the corner here for you. And he looked at me like, okay. And I went home, literally, I went home and told my wife, so this is right before lunch. I went home and told my wife at lunch, I'm like, I think he's going to quit. Within 35 minutes, I had an email saying, I will no longer be there. I'm like, so I had for the following Monday, I'm like, oh goodness, Batman, no integrity. So,
that I like the way that chiropractors quit sometimes is like crazy to me. I'm like, it's not like you're working at a grocery store and you're 16 years old. You know what I mean? Like
you got obligations to people,
patients too, not just to like me, but patients. It's
continuity of care is real. So
what are the biggest challenge for docs that are out there? There's probably not a lot of docs out there right now that are like contemplating maybe I should start up my 4 more practices real quick. But we were talking before this, that there's been some stats out there that say that maybe as many as 50% of chiropractors may not make it through this. And so I do think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for doctors that are thriving to maybe bring some of those under their wing and start to build up multiple practices. What's been the biggest challenge for you as an owner of multiple practices?
It's always team management and setting team expectation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people that are blessed to be uber successful, we have a higher level expectation for ourselves. And I got taught years ago from another friend, like, if you set your bar at, expect your team to be 75 to 80% of you. You can never expect them to be you. They're not you. They won't be you. You can't force them to be you. And so just really having clear communication expectations of desired outcomes has been the biggest stress relief for me. And then knowing they're not me and not putting burden on myself for them to accomplish what I want them to accomplish. It needs to be what they want to accomplish, even though we have, global goals and desires. Yeah. Knowing that they're not Nick, they're not Paul, they're not, so I can't force them to fit into my life.
Yeah. So. What's the thing that when you first decided to open up that second office, what was the thing that made you go ahead and say, let's do it? Because I mean, no matter what, anytime you open up another brick and mortar, it's going to multiply the headaches that come along with that. And especially if you've never remotely managed something before. Yeah. So what was it that forced you to do that? And kind of what was that learning process like?
The force was really just to serve the community. Again, like I opened with what I believe to be the right style of chiropractic and communication and whatnot. And so I was like, our community need this. Yep. There's, with Western States in my backyard, our county has 130 chiropractors, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's heavily populated with chiropractic, but again, they weren't delivering the message that I wanted them to I thought the community needed to hear for their families and themselves. And so that was really the purpose behind it. I did take some lumps, similar situation, a doc that I had on and had been training, verbally agreed to open this practice for him, a month or two before it left, said I'm out. So then I ended up having to, remove a doc that was kind of my right-hand person at my main clinic into that office. She was there for a little bit, but then decided, I've learned, going through it. So
it's always people, isn't it?
100%. It's always people. It's always, no matter what it is. It's always
as long as you have the idea, The only problem you have is people. You know, like lots of people just don't have any ideas. And so that's their biggest problem. But once
there's too many ideas and not the people.
But if you have that idea, if you have the system in place, then it's just like, man, and when I say people, I mean yourself as well. Like I've got so much room for improvement in terms of like managing other people. Cause you're like one of my business idols just because I watch what you do and I watch how like efficient you are at it and all the different stuff that you have going on. Because when I see people that have like one thing, I'm like, yeah, if I had one thing too, I'd be really good at it as well. But whenever I see guys like you or like Franson that have got like 10 different plates spinning in the air and you like only let one drop instead of my 7, I'm like, man, I wish I could do that.
It is a total people thing, but thank you for that. I appreciate it. But it's, and I've learned, to be honest, the people thing. I've lost some people probably because I was still maturing and learning as a teacher, coach, manager to them. Like had I communicated things a little bit different, years ago, I might still have a few. And we have huge, I've been blessed with huge longevity with team members, but there's a few that I can think back like, well, if I would have done this different, maybe that different, I might still have a few more people. But that's part of the learning process. That's part of business. That's part of practice. It's part of, growing. So there's no right way. You just gotta move.
Did you get any good training or any good books that you read that really helped you along the way? Or was it just kind of like trial and error?
It's both. I mean, I've had amazing mentors, chiropractic mentors and business mentors my entire career, still do. But a lot of it was trial and error, because even some of my mentors at the time hadn't had multiple practices. I was charting new territory.
Yeah.
So
recently you partnered and merged your practices with Chiro One, and tell us a little bit about that process and why you decided to go that route.
It comes right back to messaging and influence.
Yeah.
I had plateaued for about 5 years with expansion. Yep. That's not where my heart was content. I wanted to continue to provide, the same service, the same message, the same delivery of chiropractic to more people. And so, two mutual people on the same day connected, had talked to, so 2 different people talking to 2 different people on the same day about me in this area, having multiple to people within that company.
Yeah.
And they reached out. So I just felt like it was a God thing. So we, we walked for about 18 months it took before we, got to a decision. And a lot of it came down to philosophy on chiropractic and style of practice. And it was the closest thing that I had seen to the way I practiced.
Yeah.
But again, it came really right back to my mission to spread the what I believe to be the closest, purest chiropractic message to more people. And so it was like merging, partnering with them is going to allow me to continue to be able to open more practices and deliver that same message and impact more lives down the road. Yeah. So that's really the method behind or means behind it.
And I would guess that more and more people are going to be looking for something like that. I've always said that I only think that there's maybe about 20% of chiropractors that own their own practices that are like true bred entrepreneurs that are really like meant to be running a business. Mm-hmm. And that if somebody offered them a job for $150K guaranteed for the next 10 years, 80% of them would probably hop on it.
Yeah.
So I do think that this has probably taught a lot of that percentage that maybe owning a practice is not like what I'm really that passionate about. And not a bad thing. Just like if you just want to focus on being a practitioner, that's admirable. Just because you went to chiropractic school doesn't mean that you like meant to be a business owner. So I do think that a lot more will be looking for opportunities like that because they don't want to just like walk away from the thing that they've built, but they also just don't like want to continue to be an island up to themselves and just like out there, floating in the breeze.
Yeah. And it's been 5 months that I've been with these, almost 6 that I've been partnered with them. I'm, friends, colleagues that have heard what I did, have found out, have reached out about that exact thing. Hey, Paul, I'm 25 years in, 30 years in. Yes, it's been fine, but it'd be nice to not have to manage team, manage bills, manage marketing, manage all the stuff, right? That's behind the scenes that nobody sees.
Right.
And I just want to serve people and have fun serving people all day. That's what I enjoy the most. And the same for the new practitioners. Students are getting out of school with, $250,000 in debt. They don't know how to run a business. And so going through some training for systems and process, and then being plugged into a practice and have the opportunity to make a great living without having to deal with all the stress, is eye appealing for a lot of people as well.
For sure. Let's talk about your baby, ChiroFEST. So tell me so for those people that haven't been to ChiroFEST, I think it's my favorite event to go to every year that gets the chiropractic profession together. It seems like all of my friends are there speaking, and so it's like a great time.
And you this year, you're speaking
this year. That's right. Yeah, you waited for the anniversary to bring me up. So how did that start? Like, what was the reasoning behind getting that going?
Yeah, so again, right back to my desire to serve. So I had started coaching with one of my best friends in chiropractic. We, for 5 years, were doing chiropractic mentoring coaching. He had 4 boys super close together. It was becoming to be too much on his plate. And so we just decided to discontinue coaching. So then I had ran into 𝗪𝗘𝗬𝗍𝗯𝗃. So I started a philosophy group, still have that going to this day. And so I was like, all right, how can I continue to serve chiropractic, to keep chiropractic, again, the way I believe chiropractic should be, the way it was designed and founded on. And so then I went to CalJam, went to Billy's first event, ran into Billy at an event that 𝗵𝗵 hosted. And I said, hey man, why don't I'm doing a philosophy group. I've coached. I love what you did there. Let's start a CalJam North. That's literally the conversation I had with him. And he said, Paul, I want to, you go do Paul. I want to grow this. I got a big vision for this. And thank you, Paul, but go do you. And so that's really how ChiroFEST was birthed. I'm like, all right, I want to serve our profession, keep it pure and true. Our tagline's honor the past, preserve the future. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, go do it. And so then I, came up with the name and put the first one was in, 10 years ago in a tent in September on a patient's property. Patient had 50 acres. I said, hey, I want to host this seminar. I'll bring in tents, put it up. Can we do that? And he said, absolutely. So we, put up a bunch of, kind of old school BJ, Lyceum days. Yeah. It didn't have the elephants, but we had the tent. Unfortunately, Northwest, unpredictable weather, poured down rain. So then I was scrambling with my wife and associates, going to rent heaters that we had inside the tent. It was nuts, but it was a ton of fun. And Fred Schofield was one of my speakers that first year, and he's like, hey, Paul, I think this is amazing what you're doing. He goes, if you really want to grow it, you got to move it inside. Yeah. And so the next year we moved it inside and haven't looked back. So
nice. And this is 10 years.
Yeah, it's our anniversary.
Nice. Yeah. So for people that are looking to put on events, what are some tips along the way that you
don't do it? Only tip is it has to be a passion, because there's not. I am not retired. I'm not even paying for a car through ChiroFEST. Like it's just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy bringing. It's throwing a wedding for yourself every year. Yeah. And so those of you that are married and either thrown a wedding or been involved in organizing and coordinating, having a wedding, the stress and nonsense that goes into it. And so getting chiropractors to show up and commit and get their stuff in, and it's do it because you love it, not because you have any other expectation other than bringing your friends close to celebrate with each other every year. So.
Makes sense. I felt like last year though was like the most calm I've seen you at one of those.
It flowed really well last year. My team did an amazing job. I was pretty chill. So yeah, it was awesome. So
it only took 9 years, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like every year before that, I felt like I was getting phone calls. It was just like, Nick.
Well, last year all my speakers showed up, everybody showed up, so it was no stress. But there's nothing worse than like oh, hey, it's Friday and I speak tomorrow and I'm not going to be there. You're like, so then I'm scrambling trying to, anyhow. Yeah.
So the newest thing, because you don't have enough going on, the newest thing is a coaching program that we've been talking about for a couple of years now, I think.
Yeah, almost 3, I think, right?
So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did that come about?
Man,
and what's the name of it too?
Yeah, so it's just me, Paul Reed, but it's I'm focusing on men, calling it the Remarkable Man. And really again comes right down to my desire to serve. I feel like I've been uber blessed. It hasn't been easy. I've learned a ton, from trial and error and mistakes and my mentors, but I feel like I've gotten a pretty good rhythm the last 5 to 10 years. And I want to help more men, dudes, level up and get into their rhythm and really fulfill who they're supposed to be. I'm focused on their foundational 5, their faith, their family, their fitness, and their finance and fun, and just really help them get in that groove. Because, the more I talk to men, they feel they've lost their identity. They really don't feel passionate about anything. So I just feel like they're treading water and really not thriving. And I really just want to pour into them and help them thrive. And so that's really what doesn't have to be chiro. It can be, it's for every guy, man, dude.
And it's for Christian businessmen.
Yeah, I'm focusing on Christian businessmen. Yeah.
So we were talking the other day about you're starting to put together a challenge. That's starting here soon, I believe.
June 1. Launches
June 1.
June 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's a 6-day Remarkable Man challenge. It's really just to jumpstart the process for guys. I'm going to give tips and tricks to my system and the process I've designed and created to help keep me in track. That's really the big thing, is consistency and persistency, and helping them find a way within their life to be consistent and persistent. Because we can all do it for a little bit, but then we get off track. Finding out what becoming self-aware of the conflicts. Conflicts clarify. Like when we see what we keep running into, that conflict that keeps stopping us from moving beyond it, and then we need to figure out a game plan to move either through it or around it, so that you can continue to progress towards your desired state.
Yeah. Well, you crush all 5 of those, so I would strongly recommend anybody looking. Even if you're only at even if you're only crushing 3 of them, Paul can help you.
Well, I mean, that's really that's really what it means. Is a lot of people are running. We're a 6-cylinder car. We might be running on 3 of the cylinders. Yep. And if we get the other 3 to work at 25-30% capacity, we're gonna get that much better. So
a multiplying effect. What shit? I was just going to say something. If the Remarkable Man coaching group works exactly the way that you hope that it works out, what does that look like in the next 3 to 5 years for you?
I think we start our own tribe. Iron sharpens iron. The more people we have connected, encouraging, supporting each other, the greater the influence. Yeah. If I can reach 1,000 dudes to reach 1,000 dudes, we'll have a pretty big imprint on the world. And so, I'm kind of seeing even having a Remarkable Man gathering, Remarkable Man live event, where maybe we do some breakthrough stuff, bring in some speakers, again, to pour into men specifically.
Love that, man. Anything else that you can pass on words of wisdom to chiropractors out there that might be a little bit stressed out right now?
Yeah, man, really don't forget why you got into it. Of all the mentoring I've done, when docs get off track, they start to backslide, they get stressed in the finances. If they go back to, when you had no money, like I'm as happy as today as I was when I was, opening practice, we rented a master bedroom from one of my mother-in-law's friends, my wife Heidi and I did. Literally cooked breakfast in the bathroom. I'm did what it took, but I was happy because I was pursuing my why. I was pursuing what inspired me. And so get back to that, because we start to, docs will start to think about what they're not having right now. Oh, volume's down, so I can't buy this or I can't do this. Yeah. But you didn't have that when you started anyhow. So get back to that ground roots of why you're doing or why you got into chiropractic, and keep that anchor at top of mind awareness, so that it keeps your inspiration excited to get up and take care of people every day. Because you never know, right? That you can go in tomorrow and that next adjustment is going to change that person's life. And that's really what we can't forget. Even if your numbers are down, you're delivering your communication and through your hands, through your voice, through your music to that one patient is going to make a difference in their life tomorrow. So make sure that you're focusing on that person and delivering the best adjustment possible, telling your truth. It doesn't have to be Nick's truth or Paul's truth. Tell your chiropractic truth and why you're a chiropractor, and let an 8 do its thing.
Love that, man.
So,
how can people find out more about the Remarkable Man Challenge?
RemarkableManChallenge.com.
Easy enough.
ChiroFEST.org. Love to see all you guys there. Yeah.
When? What are the dates on ChiroFEST?
It is our anniversary, brother. September 18th and 19th.
Nice.
Yep. So 2020. Yeah. So 125 years for chiropractic. So we're gonna have a big party. I might have to have a piece of cake that day.
There you go. Well, man, it was an honor having you on, brother, and I can't wait to see you in September. Yes. And I'm looking forward to watching the growth with the Remarkable Man as well.
So thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.